Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nusa of Nusa Capital, coming to you on a rather warm evening from the Southern Hemisphere. The markets are still interesting. Despite the S&P 500 is up a bit, but still uncertainty still looms. The Nasdaq is also up a bit. Uncertainty still looms. Bitcoin currently trading at 97,241. Solana is up. Sui is up. And to a lesser extent, Ethereum is up. Gold remains strong. The tariff war is not over. And of course, the Ukraine war is not over. So as expected, the market's a bit skittish with all the uncertainty in the geoeconomic and geopolitical situations. Not to mention the increasing loss of value in the fiat currencies. This and more are affecting the market as a whole. But we're not here to discuss the market as a whole. We're here to discuss a few cryptocurrencies. And as always, this is rough and ready crypto analysis. And as always, we start off with Bitcoin. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Here's our daily chart of Bitcoin. And as always, we start with our areas of demand and supply. So we've got 1, 2, 3 areas of demand. 1, 2, 3 areas of supply. Areas of demand, as I've told you before, acts as areas of support, while areas of supply act as areas of resistance. Fairly reasonable presentation in our volume profile, particularly in the areas that concern us, these areas here. And as can be seen, if you look at this area here, let me just move that aside. We have some level of confluence. We have an area of supply. We have our point of control, and we also have the 23.6 Fibonacci, all roughly in the same area. There's confluence between those three, which means whatever we have to watch what goes on in this area. Now, earlier today, I put out a blog from the Binance Square, and I talked about this confluence in this area. And what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have this area here acts as an area of resistance. And as we can see, the confluence between these three major variables indicate that the price might take its time before actually breaking through. If there's not enough volume momentum, we're not going to break through this area. And until we break through this area, we are not going to have any major price activity. In other words, we're not going to be seeing anything anywhere near 100,000. Now, what do we need to break? If you look at that area here, we find that the top area here is about 99,500. And in my blog piece, I said, if the price of Bitcoin can break this area and get into the 99,600, we're going to hit about 100, and I think we're probably going to hit something like 103,000 quite easily. But we've got to break this area. And this area, as you know, as I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is the area of resistance as we look at it here. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, there's an area of demand and supply. There's also confluence here. So expect to see a bull and bear battle right here. The bulls obviously wanted to go higher. The bears, particularly those who've gone short, will probably try and hold it back. But who knows? Maybe the market makers, if there is something juicy enough for the market makers to liquidate people here, they might just do that. We'll just have to wait and see. Now, if we, sorry about that. Okay. If we switch over to the weekly, the Bitcoin weekly chart. Here again, we see what to expect in terms of higher prices. Now, this is the area we're talking about down here. Earlier, the 95, 90, it's now 97. But this area is another area we need to look at. There's a weak high here. And we're looking at 108,000. Now, if it breaks this area, I couldn't tell you what is going to happen. Why? Because if you look here at our volume profile, there is no volume profile to tell us what could likely happen. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in this area here. Now, we've also got our cup and handle, as you can see. And our cup and handle posits that's the price of 124,041. And you can see status of waiting, which means that they're waiting for the price to hit that area. But there's a good thing. There's almost, I won't say that there's certainty, but there's a good chance it probably will hit that area. Why? Because, ladies and gentlemen, looking very closely, you will see that at the 1.272, which is at 24,500, it coincides with the target, roughly with the target. There's confluence between the two. So we expect something good. We expect something really good for Bitcoin. If you haven't got your Bitcoin, no financial advice, but I suggest that if you're going to get a little bit more, try and get some at least under 100,000. Or if there is a possibility of any fall because of what's going on here, maybe you want to be a bit patient. One good thing though is that these two yellow lines here are anchored VWAP from different points. The first point was when the drive upward started, and the second point here is when the price action started going downwards. And this gives us a Bitcoin fair value of between 86 and 90, so about 87,000 and about 91,000 approximately. Now, current price has exceeded that. And as we see, unfortunately, Bitcoin has also fallen down to about 96,952 at the moment. But as I said, this area, remember, this area here is going to be a heavy resistance. And barring a lack of volume momentum, if we don't break through here, don't expect much to happen. Expect some more sideways trading. So I think that's Bitcoin. I don't think we're going to bother with putting the Ichimoku on this one. I don't think we need to bother. The chart says everything we need to know. And because the price action has gone above both areas of VWAP, anchored VWAP, definitely the bulls are now playing the game here. But we shall see what happens. Like I said, watch out for the market makers. They might begin to play some bit of silly buggers there by knocking the price down, but we shall see. Time will tell. Okay, next, ladies and gentlemen, we are now on Binance. We're not going to spend too much time on Binance. Binance is not holding the same level of importance as it once did. We can see that there's some confluence between areas of supply and the 0.5 and the 0.618, all these areas, and these two overlap. This is a massive area of supply overall and a big area of resistance, and it's going to take quite a while to actually break through here. Here's also another area of supply, also remember as resistance. That area and that area here are areas of demand, also acting as support to some extent. To an extent, not to some extent, acting as areas of support. Here, as you can see, the volume profile fairly active in these regions, these several regions here, these ones here, very active in this area. I'm not putting too much stock on the price of going up to the likes of about $730. It's going to take a while. I'm not particularly encouraged by that. We shall see. We never know. I mean, let's just throw on, let's see, let's pick, I think we could pick, let's just pick this area here. Using our anchored VWAP, if we select there, let's see, okay. Yep, not too bad, but we're still under the areas of anchored VWAP, which means that the bears still have some level of control. And of course, this area here, we're going to be hitting an area of resistance. So we'll have to wait and see how this price action plays out on Binance. Anyway, that's enough of Binance. Let's hit Ethereum. Okay. Ethereum is a bit more interesting. Well, it's hardly been encouraging. I mean, it's been a series of lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows. We've just had a basic change of character where it has actually broken. Instead of a lower low, we've got a higher low. So it's, there's a bit of a change of character here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas of supply, no areas of demand in sight. Not very encouraging when you see that. Although the areas of supply in this area here, let's move that aside so we can see at the 0.236 area, as well as the 0.5 area, more confluence telling you that these areas are strong, but they're a bit thin, which means that the price, with enough volume activity, the price can actually break through these areas. We've got a reasonable amount of volume profile, as we can see, not too bad. Very little areas of low volume, but Ethereum has hardly enthused anybody. We're going to wait and see, particularly when we see the new. I know that there's been some new changes to the network as a whole, but I'm sure you've seen the news. There are more people who have not stopped bridging their Ethereum into Solana. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens overall. Bears are still very much in control because, as we can see, our anchored VWAP, we can see fair value will be anything between 2,469 to 2,696. And currently we are 1,857. So that's quite a while before we kind of get there again, except there's some major price activity. Now, anything under about 1,900, 2,1900, or so what 1,950, I think under that, I think might be a reasonable buy for speculators. No financial advice, of course, but I think it'd be a reasonable buy. And the speculators have areas of where they can plenty of areas where they can actually sell their holdings and make a bit of a profit. Okay, let's move on to Solana. Solana is also quite interesting here. So we've got 2 areas of demand here, which are going to act as support. We've got 3 areas of supply. Solana has been falling, lower highs and lower lows relatively, and now it's just about, I think it's just about going to be breaking. I think there's been a change of character. That's true because we've broken, instead of a lower low, it's now a higher low. So we've broken that. As you can see here, our volume profile is fairly even right through. Not too much drama there. Bears are still in control, although gradually maybe their time is coming to an end. We don't know, but we shall see as time goes on. Fair value price, again, look at our anchor VWAP here and here. One taking from when the drive upward started, and of course when the drive going lower started. So we look at the fair value price of about between 163 and 179. But as I said, the price action is still under these 2 areas. And of course, we've got a nice big, reasonably sized area of supply, which is going to act as resistance. And if there's not enough activity, we're not going to be breaking through the 170s. I think that area is between 166 and about 180. Much as we would like to see the price get back there, it's going to be a while. It might be a while before it gets there. Solana has not been exciting at the moment, but a lot of developments are going on. Massive amount of activity, technical activity going on the platform. I still strongly recommend that people have Solana in their portfolio and to realize that Solana to some extent is undervalued, considering the kind of activity, total value locked, number of transactions going on, and the amount of money that the platform itself is actually making. Not to mention that companies at the moment are now beginning to build Solana reserves. Just as we got the Bitcoin reserves, strategic reserves, we're now having Solana strategic reserves. That might be a hint to retail investors to start accumulating as much Solana as they can. And who knows, maybe Solana will be treated to some extent just like Bitcoin in terms of having it in reserve and using it as collateral for future purchases and also all sorts of things for your lifestyle chips. But we just have to wait and see. Anyway, that's Solana. Let's go to Sui. Sui has been very active. As you can see, the price action has really gone up right over there. We've got 3 areas of demand and 2 areas of supply. There's a slight bit of confluence between the 61.8 and this area of supply, which is between $4 and $4.31, although it's not there yet. Still heading up. Volume profile fairly even. Nothing too dramatic there. As you can see, the yellow lines again, anchored VWAP, showing us what we consider fair value. It has now broken fair value from 276 between $2.76 and $3.11. It's now currently at $3.68. I'm sure SUI holders are quite happy about that. But we're going to be running into an area of supply, which is also going to be an area of resistance. And let's hope that we continue to have the volume momentum to break through and go into higher prices. Nothing too dramatic there to discuss. So I think we can move on. Oh, and by the way, SUI does have a bit of technical activity going on. They've increased their total value locked and a bit more in transaction levels, but nowhere near that of Solana at the moment. But only time will tell. Okay. So we now head into Moodeng. For all you Moodeng holders, as promised, I'll continue to do this for you. Okay. Nothing much to say about this. You all know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Look at that. Look at how flat that is. Until this breaks this area of, until it breaks the point of control, which is at about 7 cents, going into 8-9 cents. Don't expect any major activity. There are no areas of demand, all areas of supply. This one here is going to be easy to get through. It's too thin, but they're going to encounter far more resistance here, here, and here. Speculators, this is still an opportunity for you to actually buy and make your profits at any of these areas of supply. As can be seen, the yellow lines also still representing our anchored VWAP. So fair value for Moodeng is between 18 cents and 23 cents. And it's down to about 4 cents at the moment, so we're going to have to wait. Holders, infinite patience is required. And let's hope that this, along with many other meme coins, get some kind of renaissance or some kind of revival in the future. Okay. Let's go on to WIF. WIF, literally the same thing at what happened. The difference here is that WIF has actually come into this area of supply. But as you can see, not enough momentum to actually make it break through. Area of supply here is between 63 cents and about 63 cents and about 79 cents. It's currently at about 62.7 cents, and if it breaks this, if it can break this area at about, let's see, if it breaks 79 cents going to 80 cents, then we can expect it heading straight towards its fair value. Based on our anchored VWAP, fair value is between $1.22 and $1.48, as we can see here. And if it breaks that area, then we know that the bulls are in control. But at the moment, they're not. The bears are still in control. As you can see, price action is well below our area of our fair value. So holders are going to also have to be very patient. But like I said, it needs to break this area here first. It needs to break into about, as I said, it's got to get about 80 cents. And until that time, we don't expect much to happen. If you're somebody who believes in this project, you can still accumulate while it's still under 70. And who knows? Maybe it'll be a lucky day sometime in the future. And there we have it on that. Finally, I'm just going to do Pi Network for some of the holders here. Not much to talk about. No areas of demand or supply on the daily, except we're going down to the 4-hour. I'm not really going to do that. We can see that it's trading sideways and even fell a bit. Current price is at about 60 cents 48. I did say that it could hold. I think it's going to hold. It's not going to be too bad before it starts going up. Based on our anchored VWAP, fair value is at between $1.17 and $1.18. However, if it breaks this area here, if it breaks something like that area here, we could see it going much higher. Volume profile, nothing too exciting. So I think that there's no areas of resistance here at the moment. So I think that the price, if something happens, if something dramatic happens or so, or some kind of announcement, I would not be surprised to see the price blast even beyond the fair value at the moment, as indicated by the anchored VWAP. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I can only conclude by saying that until the geoeconomic and geopolitical situations kind of settle down, we're going to get the market being a bit schizophrenic. Or as a friend of mine said, the markets, the different instruments are trading as if they're meme coins, which has made it very difficult for people to take reasonable positions when it comes to trading. I think that one of the things that you will have to do is you will have to, go into something like stable coins and stake them for yield. Or you sign up some areas and provide liquidity to earn yield while the market is still being a bit schizophrenic. Again, no financial advice, but I suppose that is kind of an idea that you might want to look at and try out. Anyway, that's me. So keep your eyes and ears open and you're trading sharp. Have a good one. Bye.